Why does life feel so unfair sometimes? Why do the ones who help others, stay honest, and live kindly still face heartbreak, loss, and pain? Have you ever watched a good person struggle and thought they didn't deserve that? These questions live deep inside us, especially when we or someone we love goes through hard times despite living a good life. Think about this. Imagine a kind-hearted school teacher who spends her days teaching children with love and patience. She gives to others, never asks for much, and always has a smile. But one day, she loses her home in a flood. Why her? Why now? Where's the justice in that? This is the kind of pain that makes us question everything. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, the place where we explore life's hardest questions through the peaceful lens of Buddhist wisdom. If this video speaks to something you felt, please don't scroll away. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribed. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us reach more hearts in need of comfort and clarity. In this video series, we will gently explore why bad things seem to happen to good people, not with judgment or blame, but with insight from centuries of Buddhist thought. Buddhism doesn't say suffering is punishment. It teaches that suffering is part of being alive, but also that it's not meaningless. Through stories, teachings, and real-life reflections, we'll understand the unseen threads of karma, impermanence, and compassion. Stay with us as we walk a path toward peace, not by pretending suffering doesn't exist, but by learning how to face it with strength and understanding. The law of karma, beyond reward and punishment. Sit down, my child. Let me tell you something that the wind knows, that the river sings, that the mountains have whispered for thousands of years. People often think karma is like a cosmic reward system. Be good, and good will come. Do wrong, and life will punish you. But karma, in its true sense, is not so simple. It is not a judge in the sky keeping score. It is more like planting seeds. Let's say you plant a mango seed. Will it grow into an apple tree? No, right? It will give you mangoes. In the same way, our thoughts, our words, our actions, they are seeds. Karma means action, and every action has a result. But the result may not come immediately. Just like a seed takes time to grow, karma also takes time to ripen. Some karma from this life ripens soon. Some takes years. Some lifetimes. So when you see a good person suffering, don't assume it is punishment. Don't think, why is life being unfair to them? Instead, remember, they may be burning away old karma, like wooden fire. Or they may be going through something that will give rise to deep wisdom. Sometimes suffering is not punishment. Sometimes it is purification. A woman once came to the Buddha, crying. Her baby had died, and she couldn't accept it. She asked the Buddha to bring her child back. The Buddha told her, "Bring me a mustard seed from a house that has never known death." She searched all day, knocking on many doors. But every home had known loss. Every family had known pain. She finally understood, suffering is not just hers. It is a shared human experience. You see, karma doesn't say, be good and life will be perfect. It says, be aware of your actions because they leave footprints. The path of a good person may be hard not because they're being punished, but because they walk with awareness. They take on burdens with a soft heart. Their suffering is not a curse. It's the mark of someone who chooses to feel deeply rather than shut down. Let me give you a little story. Once, two monks were walking through a muddy path. They came across a woman who couldn't cross. One monk, without hesitation, lifted her and carried her to the other side. Hours later, the other monk said, "You shouldn't have touched her. It's against our practice." The first monk replied, "I left her back there. Why are you still carrying her?" This is karma too, not just the act, but how we carry it in our minds. Now, understand this clearly, karma is not fate. Buddhism doesn't believe you are trapped by your past. In fact, you are free every moment to plant new seeds. The wind cannot blow away your past, but your present can shape what grows from it. Every kind thought, every moment of patience, every time you forgive, these are seeds too. So when you suffer, ask not, why me? Ask instead, what can I learn? When you see others in pain, do not say they must deserve it. Say instead, how can I help them carry this burden? That is the way of the awakened heart. Many people think karma is a punishment system for bad behavior. But if that were true, then no good person should suffer. You look around, you'll see many kind, gentle souls walking through storms. Their light shines even in darkness. Sometimes their suffering makes them more compassionate, more present. Suffering can soften the heart like rain softens dry earth. Sometimes someone may have done great good in this life, but they carry karma from a past life. We can't see it, but it shapes the path beneath their feet. It's like walking through a forest. Some paths are clear, some are full of thorns. The person didn't create all the thorns today, they were planted long ago, but they still walk with courage. A person may be kind and still get hurt. That does not mean kindness is useless. It means this world is woven with threads we cannot see. And maybe, just maybe, the one who continues to be kind, even in pain, is the one who is truly free. Let me share another small tale. A man once asked a Zen Master, "Why do good people suffer?" The Master said, "The same reason fire burns everything. It doesn't ask whether the wood is clean or dirty. Life, like fire, does not judge. But unlike fire, life gives us the chance to transform. We can turn even burning pain into light." In Buddhism, karma is not a punishment to fear. It is a teacher. It shows us where we have been and offers us a chance to walk in a new direction. If you scream at someone in anger, you plant a seed of suffering. If you hold someone in love, you plant a seed of peace. You may not see the fruit today, but it will come. Just wait. Just watch. That is why we must not chase good results, but choose good actions without expectations. A good person who suffers is not cursed. They are learning, transforming, walking the path of awakening. The lotus does not grow on marble. It grows in mud, and still it blooms. So remember, my dear listener, when pain comes, do not feel betrayed. Sit with it. Breathe with it. Ask it what it has come to teach you. And know that you are not alone. Even the Buddha suffered. Even he faced loss, sickness, and death. But he turned that suffering into wisdom, and so can you. In the next part, we will walk deeper into the forest. We'll speak about samsara, the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, and how suffering weaves its threads across lifetimes. But for now, rest your mind. Let your heart take in this truth. Karma is not about blame. It is about learning. It is not about who deserves what. It is about planting new seeds. And even if the road is hard, your steps are not wasted. Keep walking gently. Keep walking awake. Samsara and the cycle of pain. Sit down again, my dear. Let your breath slow down. Let your shoulders drop. Let the mind become quiet like a pond in early morning. Today, I will tell you about something deep, something that touches every living being, from the smallest ant to the tallest tree to the oldest grandmother with stories in her eyes. This is about samsara, the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. You see, many people ask, why do I suffer when I try to live a good life? And I tell them, because we are all still inside the wheel of samsara. This wheel turns and turns, lifetime after lifetime. We are born, we live, we die, and we are born again, not always as humans, not always in the same place, but always according to the seeds we have planted. Samsara is not a punishment. It is not a curse. It is simply a process like the seasons. Spring becomes summer, summer becomes autumn, autumn becomes winter, and then the cycle begins again. If you don't understand the seasons, you will be surprised when the cold comes. But if you understand, you prepare. In the same way, if you understand samsara, you do not panic when suffering arises. In this endless cycle, we carry not just our bodies, but our habits, our thoughts, our attachments. When we cling to pleasure, fear pain, grasp for love, or chase power, we plant seeds that keep the wheel turning. Each action, even a small one, adds motion to the wheel. Sometimes the ride is smooth, sometimes it is bumpy, but until we wake up, we keep spinning. Now let me tell you a story. Long ago, there was a king who had everything: power, gold, a beautiful family. One day, he went out and saw an old man, a sick man, and a dead man. He was shaken. He had never seen suffering before. "What is the use of my riches if this is where life leads?" he asked. That king later became the Buddha. He left everything behind to find a way out of samsara, not just for himself, but for all beings. That story is not just ancient history. It is your story too. Every time you suffer and ask why, you're standing where the Buddha once stood. You're facing samsara. But here's the good news. Samsara is not forever. It's not a prison without doors. It is a maze, and with wisdom, we can find a way out. You may ask, why should a good person still be caught in samsara? The answer is simple but deep. Goodness helps. Kindness helps. But as long as there is attachment, even to being good, we are still turning on the wheel. Even good actions, if done with craving or pride, can bind us. The key is not just to do good, but to do it with wisdom, with no expectation, no clinging. Imagine a candle lighting another candle. It gives its flame freely. That is the way of the awakened one. No pride, no fear, just pure sharing. That kind of action doesn't bind us. It frees us. Samsara is full of ups and downs. In one life, we may be rich. In another, we may struggle. In one life, we may be healthy. In another, we may fall ill. These changes do not mean life is unfair. They mean that life is always moving, always shifting like clouds in the sky. You cannot hold on to any form. Not joy, not sorrow, not even life itself. Everything passes. Some people suffer not because they are bad, but because they are carrying old karma from past lives. This karma is not always visible, but it shapes the situations we are born into, the families, the bodies, even the challenges. The pain is not personal. It is part of the journey. It is a lesson rising to the surface. You might wonder, if I don't remember my past lives, how can I learn? But look at your life now. Your patterns, your fears, your dreams, these are echoes. They're like footprints from journeys you've already walked. And every difficulty is a chance to respond with greater wisdom than before. Let me tell you another little tale. A potter once made a clay pot. It cracked in the fire. He made another. This one too cracked. But on the third try, he shaped it with more care, more patience, and this time it held water. Just like the potter, each life gives us the tools to improve the shape of our soul. So what do we do in samsara? We don't fight it with anger. We don't run from it in fear. We wake up inside it. We learn how to act without greed. We learn how to love without attachment. We learn how to suffer without blaming. That is the beginning of freedom. Pain, in this world, is not optional. But how we relate to pain, that is where awakening begins. Some people curse their suffering. Others bow to it and ask, "What are you here to teach me?" The second group, the ones who listen, begin to rise above samsara. You see, samsara is like a dream. When you're inside the dream, it feels real. But when you wake up, you see it differently. The enlightened one still sees the world, still feels emotions, still lives among people, but no longer clings. And because they no longer cling, they no longer suffer in the same way. It doesn't mean we become cold. It means we become steady, like the deep ocean. Waves come and go, but the ocean remains. That is the mind of one who is awake inside samsara. And here is another truth. Every act of mindfulness is like a little break in the wheel. Every moment of kindness, done without wanting anything back, is like a gentle push toward freedom. Every time you forgive, instead of feeding anger, you loosen the chain. Now listen carefully. No one can escape samsara for you. Not your parents, not your guru, not even the Buddha himself. But everyone who has walked the path before you is lighting the way. They leave behind words, stories, and a silent presence that supports you. Even your suffering is not wasted. If you pay attention, it will show you where you are still holding on. If you listen deeply, it will become your teacher. Sometimes pain whispers. Sometimes it shouts. But always it points toward truth. So, when you ask, why do good people suffer? Look beyond this one life. See the river, not just one wave. And know this. Every step you take toward awareness reduces suffering, not just for you, but for all beings. Because we are all connected, tied by invisible threads. When one wakes up, the light spreads. In the next part, we will speak about fairness and why the world often feels so unfair even to the most sincere hearts. But until then, remember, samsara is not your enemy. It is your classroom, and every moment, yes, even the painful ones, is a doorway to awakening. The illusion of fairness in a changing world. Come, sit again. Let the world slow down for a while. Let your heart become soft like fresh earth after rain. Today, I want to talk to you about something that troubles many people: fairness. This idea, this expectation, this silent hope that if we live right, life will treat us right. But is life always fair? You and I both know it is not. You have seen it, haven't you? A kind man gives food to others but falls sick himself. A hardworking woman helps everyone but loses her job. A gentle soul is betrayed by friends. And then someone who cheats, who lies, who harms others, seems to rise, to succeed, to laugh. You sit there quietly and wonder, why is this happening? Where's justice? Why do good people suffer while others seem to escape? It shakes you. It confuses the heart. It makes you question everything: goodness, faith, even your own kindness. But listen closely now. This idea of fairness, it's something the mind creates. The world does not promise fairness. The universe does not run like a school teacher giving gold stars for good behavior. It moves through causes and conditions. It unfolds through karma and impermanence. And those don't always look like justice to our human eyes. The Buddha never said, life will be fair. He said, life is suffering, but suffering can be understood. It can be ended. You see, we often mistake balance for justice, but they're not the same. Balance is natural. What you give out, you receive, though not always in the same form or in the same lifetime. Justice, as we imagine it, is human-made. We want good people to win and bad people to lose. But life is more mysterious than that. Imagine a garden. Two trees stand side by side. One blossoms early, the other late. One faces the sun, the other grows in the shade. Is it fair? No. But is it wrong? Also no. Each tree grows according to where it was planted, how it is watered, and what seeds it carries. People are the same. Their joys and struggles come from deep roots. Some we see, some we don't. Sometimes, what looks unfair is actually karma unfolding from lifetimes we don't remember. A person might be reaping what they sowed long ago. Or maybe they're carrying a heavy load so others don't have to. There's a story about a bodhisattva who chose to take birth in suffering again and again just to help others rise. Sometimes the most painful life is the most noble one. But let's return to something simple. Think about rain. It falls on the kind farmer's crops and a thief's rooftop alike. The rain does not choose sides. It follows the clouds, the winds, the atmosphere. Life too flows like that, following causes, not our hopes of fairness. But here's the secret. You can still plant good seeds, even in bad weather. There was once a man who spent his whole life helping people. One day, his village was flooded. Everything he had was lost. Someone asked him, "Aren't you angry? You didn't deserve this." He replied, "The flood took my house, but not my kindness. It can wash away the walls, but not the heart I've built." That's the power of wisdom, to see the world not through the lens of deserving, but through the eyes of understanding. Let me give you another picture. A child falls and scrapes his knee. He cries, "It's not fair." But the mother knows it's part of growing, part of learning balance, part of playing. In the same way, many things in life that feel unfair are part of our soul's growing. The fall hurts, but it teaches. It breaks us open, but in that space, light can enter. Now I ask you, when something unfair happens, what do? Do you become bitter, like a fruit that was picked too early? Or do you become deeper, like soil that grows richer after rain? We can't control what happens around us, but we can always choose how we respond. That is where true power lies, not in demanding fairness, but in creating inner strength. When others lie, we still speak truth. When others take, we still give. Not because life rewards us, but because that is who we are. In Buddhist teaching, This is called right intention. To act not for gain, but from compassion. To do what is good, not because we expect return, but because it brings peace within. This way, your happiness is not controlled by others. It becomes your own creation. And yes, it's hard. Very hard. Sometimes you will cry. Sometimes you will feel empty. Sometimes you will think, what is the use of being good? But know this, your actions, done with love, are never wasted. They are seeds that bloom in time, often in ways you cannot see. One of the greatest masters once said, even if no one sees your kindness, the heart sees, and the heart becomes the home of peace. When we stop expecting life to be fair, we begin to see life as it is. Not fair, not unfair, but flowing, ever-changing, like a river, and we can either fight that river or learn to flow with it. When we flow, we suffer less. Some people ask, if life is not fair, then why bother being good? I say, because goodness is not about reward. It is about becoming who you truly are. Just like a lotus doesn't bloom to impress anyone, it blooms because it is its nature. You too have a nature, pure, peaceful, awake. Don't hide it just because the world is full of mud. Even in an unfair world, your truth can shine. Your gentleness can guide. Your love can heal. These things do not depend on what life gives. They grow from what you choose to give. So the next time unfairness knocks at your door, don't ask, why me? Ask, what can I learn? How can I still be light in the dark? Fairness may be an illusion, but understanding is real. Compassion is real. Peace is real. And those who walk this path, the path of wisdom, not complaint, find something greater than fairness. They find freedom. In the next part, we will talk about how to keep a soft heart even when the world around you is hard. How the path of compassion keeps us alive in a world full of suffering. But until then, rest with this truth. The world may not be fair, but you can still be true. And in that truth, you will find your greatest strength. Compassion amid chaos, the Bodhisattva path. Come, child, sit near the sound of silence again. Let the noise of the world fall away for a little while. I want to speak with you about something that can keep your heart alive even when the world tries to break it. That something is compassion, the soft light that never goes out even in the darkest night. Today we speak of the Bodhisattva, a being who chooses to stay in this world, not to escape suffering, but to help others wake up from it. Not because they are forced, but because their heart is too full of love to leave anyone behind. It's a path not of escape, but of return, not of looking away from pain, but of embracing it with understanding. Many times people ask, how can I be kind when the world is so cruel? How can I care when others are selfish, when people laugh at my softness? But I tell them, the one who still cares, even in a cold world, is the strongest of all. A soft heart is not a weak heart. It is like water, gentle, but it wears down the hardest stone. The Bodhisattva sees suffering, feels it, walks through it. But instead of closing their heart, they open it wider. Not just for their own pain, but for the pain of others too. You may think, how is that possible? How can someone carry so much and not collapse? But that is the secret of compassion. When it flows freely, it doesn't weigh you down, it lifts you. Let me tell you a simple story. Once, a man found a small bird with a broken wing. He could have walked away. It wasn't his problem. But he picked it up, made a shelter, fed it, and cared for it. When asked why he did it, he said, because I know what it feels like to be broken. You see, his own pain made him kinder, not colder. This is the path of the Bodhisattva, not to run from suffering, but to become a light within it. In Buddhism, we don't teach to avoid pain. We teach to understand it, to meet it with kindness. Because when you touch your own suffering with compassion, you begin to understand the suffering of others. You no longer judge. You feel, and feeling is the beginning of healing. Even the Buddha, after his awakening, did not leave the world behind. He could have. He had the wisdom, but he chose to stay and teach. Why? Because compassion made his enlightenment complete. Wisdom alone is not enough. It must be held in the arms of compassion. People ask me, Master, I try to be good. I try to help others, but I get tired, I get hurt. And I say, yes, that is natural. Even the Bodhisattva gets tired, but they rest and then rise again. They don't act because they expect thanks. They act because their heart has opened like a flower, and giving becomes its fragrance. You don't need to do big things. Compassion lives in small moments. A gentle word, a patient ear, a silent presence. It is not always loud. Often, it is quiet, like the moon shining softly on a troubled sea. There's a story of a young monk who was asked to clean the old sandals of the elder monks. He did it every day without being told, without being praised. One day, someone asked him, "Why you do this?" He replied, "Because their feet have walked the path I wish to walk." That small act, done with love, carried the energy of the Bodhisattva. In times of chaos, when the world seems to reward greed and cruelty, it is compassion that keeps humanity alive. If you have ever cried for someone else, if you have ever helped without expecting anything, even in secret, then you're already walking this sacred path. But be gentle with yourself too. Many kind souls burn out because they give and forget to rest. Remember, even a candle must pause before it can shine again. Take care of your heart. Compassion includes you too. The Bodhisattva understands this. They serve not out of guilt, but from joy. Not because they think they're better, but because they know they're connected to all beings. When one suffers, all suffer. When one heals, all heal. There's a beautiful teaching that says, "May all beings be happy. May all beings be free." This is not just a prayer, it is a way of living. You carry this wish in your actions, your eyes, your tone of voice. Even your silence can become a blessing. Now you may say, "But I'm just one person. What can I do in this wide, broken world?" I say, light one lamp. Help one person, even if that person is you. The ripple will go farther than you think. The world may not thank you. People may misunderstand you. But don't let that stop your heart from blooming. The Bodhisattva walks through fire and still holds out water to others. They are not special. They are simply awake to love. And sometimes, compassion is just presence. You don't need all the answers. You don't need to fix everything. Just sit with someone in their pain. Just listen. Just be there. That alone can be medicine. Even your pain can become part of the path. If you allow it, it will soften you, deepen you, make you more human. That is the alchemy of compassion. It turns wounds into wisdom. So if you've been hurt but still choose to love, if you've been broken but still choose to heal others, if you've been ignored but still choose to care, then you are a living Bodhisattva. This path is not grand. It is not distant. It is here, now, in how you live, how you speak, how you see others. Every step you take with kindness is a step toward freedom, not just your own, but everyone's. And when the world gets loud and your heart gets heavy, come back to silence. Come back to stillness. Let compassion fill your lungs like fresh air. Let it be your breath. Let it be your drought. In the next part, we will speak of attachment, how even our goodness can turn into suffering if we cling too tightly. But for now, let these words rest in your heart. Be kind, even if no one sees. Be gentle, even if the world is rough. And remember, every small act of compassion plants seeds that bloom in places you may never see. How attachment turns goodness into suffering. Come, child, sit beside me again. Today we go deeper, not into the pain others cause, but into the quiet pain we cause ourselves without knowing it, without meaning to. Today, I will speak to you about attachment and how even your goodness, your kindness, your love can bring suffering when attachment hides inside them like a shadow. At first, this may sound strange. You might think, isn't attachment part of love? Isn't it normal to want to hold close the people and things we care about? Yes, it is very human. But listen gently. There's a difference between holding something with care and holding it with fear. The first is love. The second is attachment. Attachment is not the same as connection. True connection flows like a stream, always moving, always alive, but not clinging. Attachment is like gripping the stream with both hands, trying to stop it from changing. And what happens then? You feel pain. Not because life is cruel, but because life is flowing and you're trying to hold it still. Even good people suffer because of attachment. A parent loves their child deeply, but if they become attached to how the child should behave, should succeed, should be forever safe, their love turns into worry, pressure, fear. The love is still there, but attachment brings suffering. A monk once asked the Buddha, "Is it wrong to love?" And the Buddha replied, "No, but love without clinging, care without control, be present without possessing." Let me give you a simple image. Imagine a butterfly landing on your hand. If you try to trap it, you will crush its wings. But if you remain still, open, soft, it may stay a while. It may fly away, and that is okay. That is love without attachment. Now, think of your life. How many things have you held on to, hoping they wouldn't change? A relationship, a job, a belief, a role, a memory. And when they did change, as all things do, you felt torn apart. This is the truth of attachment. It brings suffering not because the world is unfair, but because the world moves and attachment resists that movement. Even spiritual people, even kind people, fall into this trap. A person may do good things, but if they're attached to being seen as good, their goodness becomes a performance. They help, but secretly hope for praise. They give, but quietly expect return. And when it doesn't come, they feel hurt. The Buddha warned us of this. He said, "Not only anger and greed bind you, attachment to virtue can bind you too. It's like building a golden cage. It shines, but you're still not free." Let me tell you a story. There was once a generous woman who helped everyone. She fed the poor, supported monks, and was respected in her village. But when someone didn't thank her, or didn't return the favor, she felt upset. "I've done so much," she would say. "Why do they treat me this way?" She was good, yes, but her heart was tied to recognition. Her goodness came with a string, and the string pulled her down. You see, even kindness becomes heavy when we tie expectations to it. Even love becomes suffering when we try to control its direction. Attachment turns blessings into burdens. But what is the solution? Should we stop loving? Stop caring? No, my child. The answer is not less love, it is wiser love. The kind of love that says, "I care for you, but I do not own you. I cherish this moment, but I do not demand it to last forever. I give from my heart without needing anything back." This love is light like a feather, but strong like the mountain. In Buddhism, we learn to observe attachment, not to judge it, not to run from it, but to watch it gently. When you feel that tightness in the heart, that fear of losing, that craving to control, pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, am I clinging or am I caring? Am I holding this with fear or with freedom? This simple awareness begins to untie the knots. And yes, it takes practice. Letting go is not easy, but every time you soften your grip, you suffer less. And every time you act without attachment, you feel lighter, more peaceful, more free. You might think, but if I stop being attached, won't I become cold? Won't I stop feeling deeply? No, detachment is not indifference. It is intimacy without fear. It is seeing things clearly, loving them as they are, not as we want them to be. There's a teaching in Zen, let go or be dragged. When we cling to things that are changing, people, plans, status, identity, we get dragged through suffering. Letting go does not mean throwing things away. It means opening your hands, allowing life to move, and trusting that your peace does not depend on what stays or goes. Let me give you another small story. There was a man who loved his garden. Every morning, he watered his plants, spoke kindly to them, cared for each flower. One day, a storm came and destroyed half the garden. The man wept. He said, "Why did I care so much if it would all be ruined?" A wise old woman told him, "Because your love was real, but your peace was tied to the garden staying the same. Love the garden, but understand the storm." This is the heart of Buddhist wisdom. Love fully, but understand the storm will come. Even your body, your youth, your energy, these too will change. If you're attached to how things used to be, or how you think they should stay, you suffer. But if you meet each change with openness, you grow. When people we love change, we hurt, not always because of them, but because we were attached to who they were or how we wanted them to be. When we lose a dream, we grieve, not only the dream, but the image we clung to. Attachment hides inside many corners of the heart. But don't fear it. Just watch it. Each time you see it clearly, its power fades. Sometimes, letting go doesn't mean walking away. It means staying but not clinging, loving but not needing, giving but not grasping. This is the path of freedom. And remember, even the Buddha let go, not of the world, but of his attachment to it. He still walked among people, still taught, still helped. But he did not suffer when things changed, because he held them lightly. So, dear one, ask yourself now, what am I holding too tightly? What expectation, what image, what story? And gently, kindly begin to release. Not all at once, not with force, but like a leaf floating down a quiet stream. In the next part, we will speak of past lives, the hidden roots of suffering, and how the causes of today often lie in the unseen past. But for now, sit with this truth. Goodness is beautiful, but when tied to attachment, it becomes chain. Let your goodness flow freely, not as a bargain with life, but as a gift to it. And in that freedom, you'll find peace. The role of past lives and cause-effect chains. Sit with me again, my dear. Let your breath slow. Let your eyes close gently if you wish. Let's now talk about something that lives beyond this one life, beyond this one body, beyond what you can see in a mirror. Today we speak of past lives and the silent causes they planted, which still bloom as effects in your life today. You see, many people ask, why do I suffer when I haven't done anything wrong? Or, why do good people face pain, even though their hearts are pure? These are fair questions. They come from a heart that seeks justice, that seeks meaning. And sometimes the answers do not lie in what you did yesterday, but in what you did many yesterdays ago, before this life even began. The Buddha taught that life is not a single chapter. It is a long story, a story with many births, many deaths, many roles played. One day you are the child. Another day you are the parent. One life you are rich. Another you may beg. One life you give. Another you may take. The roles change, but the soul continues. And in each life, you plant seeds. Seeds through your actions, your thoughts, your intentions. These seeds do not die when a body dies. They carry forward, like the wind carrying pollen across the earth. And when the right time comes, they bloom. This is the law of karma across lifetimes. Now imagine this. You walk into a garden and suddenly see a strange flower blooming. You don't remember planting it. You may not even like it, but still it is growing. Why? Because long ago, in another season, you dropped a seed, perhaps without awareness. And now it blooms. The same happens in life. Sometimes the pain you feel is not from anything you've done recently. It is from an old seed, an old action, a forgotten habit, a reaction from a life before this one. But don't be afraid. This is not to blame you. This is to help you understand. Life is much deeper than we think. Let me tell you a story. Long ago, there was a kind man who lived a very humble life. He fed birds, helped the sick, and never harmed a soul. But strange things kept happening to him. He would lose money, fall ill, and be blamed for things he didn't do. He sat under a tree one day, crying, and asked, "Why me?" A wise sage passed by and saw his pain. He said, "You were once a cruel ruler, many lives ago. You ordered suffering without thinking. Now, the effects of those causes are returning. But see how you bear them with kindness? This is how karma ends. You are transforming old darkness into new light." The man didn't remember his past, but he accepted the present. And slowly, with each kind act, the painful fruits stopped growing. New, sweeter seeds began to sprout. You may not remember your past lives either. Most people don't, but you can observe what is blooming in your life. What struggles return again and again? What fears seem older than you? What patterns repeat without reason? These are signs, echoes from the past. But do not feel trapped. Past karma is not a cage. It is a field, and you are the farmer. Every day, you can plant something new. You can water the seeds of patience, forgiveness, honesty, and love. And with time, even the thorns of old karma will be outgrown by the flowers of new intentions. Let's go even deeper. Sometimes, a very good person suffers a lot in one life. Why? Because they have chosen, on a soul level, to burn through heavy karma in one lifetime, rather than spread it out over many. Like cleaning a dirty room all at once, it's painful, but it leads to quicker clarity. Others may seem to have easy lives, not because they are better, but because they are in a resting phase. They've done much work in past lives, and now enjoy a brief calm. But if they plant new harmful seeds, their future may shift again. So you see, no one truly gets away with anything. The universe is not blind. It just works on its own time, not ours. Sometimes karma ripens in a day, sometimes in a decade, sometimes in another birth. But it ripens. And this is where wisdom comes in. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Ask, what can I do now in this moment to bring peace? That is where your true power lies, not in controlling the past, but in how you meet the present. A person once asked me, but Master, if I don't know my past life, how can I fix my karma? I smiled and said, you don't need to see the past. You just need to see this moment clearly. Because how you respond now becomes the cause for what comes next. Your body is new. Your face has changed. But your inner tendencies, your reactions, your desires, your fears, they often carry old impressions. These are called vasanas in Sanskrit, residues of past lives. You can feel them when you notice, why do I always react this way? Or why am I drawn to this? Even without reason. Don't be afraid of this. It's not a curse. It's a chance to wake up. With mindfulness, you can interrupt these patterns. With compassion, you can soften them. With meditation, you can dissolve them. And slowly, you begin to walk differently. Not just with your feet, but with your heart. So many people say, I've done nothing wrong, yet I suffer. But the soul is not just this body. You are older than your name, wiser than your age. You are walking a path that began long before you were born, and will continue beyond this body. This does not make you helpless. It makes you precious. Every action you take now is shaping not just this life, but many lives to come. So act with kindness, not because you fear punishment, but because you are planting for your own future. Speak with honesty, not because someone is watching, but because the echo of your voice will come back to your ears one day. Forgive, not because the other deserves it, but because bitterness creates seeds of pain in your own field. You may ask, does this mean I must accept all suffering without question? No, Buddhism does not teach blind acceptance. It teaches clear seeing. When you see suffering, understand it, not as random, but as part of a web of causes. Then act wisely. Help where you can, learn where you must, and grow in every direction. Now breathe with me deeply. Feel the space around your heart. All your experiences, all your joys and pains, they are not happening to punish you. They are happening to wake you. Every hardship you face with patience dissolves old karma. Every moment you choose peace, even when it's hard, creates blessings you cannot yet imagine. You're not only your past, you are also your potential. Every choice you make now sends ripples across lifetimes. In the next part, we will speak of how to find peace even when injustice surrounds you. How not to lose your stillness when the world feels unfair. But for now, let this truth settle in your being. The past brought you here, but the present is yours to shape. Be gentle, be mindful, and you will not only heal this life, but many lives to come. Finding peace amidst injustice and unfairness. Come, sit quietly beside me once more. Let your breath deepen and your heart soften as we explore a question that troubles many. How can one find peace when the world seems so unjust? How does a kind person keep their calm, their faith, and their joy when unfairness knocks hard at their door? This is a very human struggle, one the Buddha himself witnessed again and again. You see, life is not a fair game where all rewards match our actions perfectly. Sometimes the good suffer, the kind are betrayed, and the innocent feel lost. This isn't a flaw in the world. It is simply how the world moves. But peace is not found in waiting for the world to change. Peace is found in changing how we relate to the world. Imagine a wind. It blows strong, sometimes gentle, sometimes wild. You cannot stop the wind. You cannot force it to blow your way. But you can choose how you stand in the wind. Will you resist and break? Or will you bend and sway, strong yet flexible? The same is true with injustice. It will come. It will touch your life in many ways. But how you stand, that is your choice. Now let me share a story. Once there was a young woman in a village. She was kind, honest, and hardworking. Yet she faced many hardships. Her crops failed, her neighbors slandered her, and her family struggled. People told her life was unfair, that she deserved better. But she smiled gently and said, "I cannot control the world's hand, but I can control my heart." She practiced patience. She helped others despite their cruelty. She stayed true to her values even when others mocked her. Slowly, her heart became a well of calm in the storm, and people began to see her not as a victim, but as a beacon of peace. This is the power of inner stillness. When you cultivate it, the noise of unfairness grows quieter. You might ask, but what about justice? Should I just accept wrongs and do nothing? That is not what peace means. Peace does not mean passivity. The Buddha taught right action, to stand up against harm, to help those in need, to speak truth. But he also taught that anger and hatred cloud the mind and keep suffering alive. True peace comes when you act from wisdom, not from anger. When your actions are guided by compassion, not revenge. When you seek healing, not more harm. Let me tell you another tale. A great master was once asked about a cruel ruler. The ruler harmed many people unjustly. The master said, "The ruler's actions create suffering, yes. But my anger toward the ruler only binds me to the same suffering. Instead, I send him compassion and wish that he wakes to kindness. That is my peace." This is not easy, and it may take many lifetimes to fully embody. But each step you take toward releasing hatred and bitterness frees your heart. You see, the world is like a mirror. If you fill your mind with anger and resentment, it reflects back more anger. But if you fill your heart with forgiveness and understanding, even when others do not, the reflection changes. Some people carry heavy burdens of injustice and cannot let go. They suffer not only because of what happened, but because of how tightly they clutch their pain. Buddhism teaches us to hold pain gently, to breathe with it, to understand its nature as changing and not self. Unfairness can feel like a storm breaking into your life, but storms always pass. The earth absorbs the rain, the sky clears, and life begins again. In your own life, when you feel injustice, don't turn it into a prison. Instead, see it as a chance to practice patience, to deepen your understanding, to awaken compassion, even for those who cause harm. There is great freedom in realizing that your peace does not depend on the actions of others. It depends on your own mind. You are not powerless. You are the master of your heart. You may not stop the unfairness outside, but you can stop it from destroying your inner world. Sometimes, the greatest justice is in the kindness you keep alive inside yourself. It is in the peace you cultivate, which then flows out quietly into the world, touching others like ripples on a pond. Do not lose yourself in the chaos of unfairness. Hold fast to your goodness, but without clinging to outcomes. Let your heart be a sanctuary where peace dwells, no matter the storms outside. In the next part, we will explore how even when the world seems to turn its back on you, your own inner light can guide your path forward. But for now, rest with this. The world may be unfair, but your peace is always within reach. Nurture it, protect it, and let it grow. When the world turns its back, trusting the light within. Come closer, dear one. Sit near me. I see that your eyes are heavy, not just from tiredness, but from sadness. I can feel the weight on your shoulders. You have walked far, haven't you? You've tried hard to be kind, honest, and helpful. And yet, sometimes, it feels like the world turns its back on you. People ignore your efforts. Friends grow distant. Family misunderstands you. Society praises others who walk a very different path. You wonder, what's the use? Why keep going when nobody sees, nobody cares? Oh, my child, I understand. Today I want to speak to that quiet ache in your heart. The ache of being unseen, unloved, unrecognized, despite doing everything right. Let me begin with a story. Once there was a candle in a vast, dark hall. It burned gently, offering its tiny light. Many people passed through the hall, but few noticed it. Some even complained about the darkness, never realizing the candle was there. Still, the candle burned. It didn't burn to be praised. It burned because that was its nature. You are like that candle. The world may not always see your light, but that doesn't mean your light is wasted. In Buddhism, we are taught that true peace does not depend on how others treat us. It depends on how we understand ourselves. Sometimes, the world turns away from those who are sincere because their light makes others uncomfortable. Kindness can seem strange in a world of competition. Stillness can feel threatening in a world that moves too fast. But this does not mean you are wrong. It means you are different, and your difference is sacred. Let me tell you something that may surprise you. Being rejected can be a blessing. Why? Because it pushes you inward. It leads you to discover something deeper. The self that does not need applause, does not need approval, does not even need to be understood to be at peace. This is what the Buddha found when he sat under the Bodhi tree. He had left his palace, his teachers, his comforts. He had no followers, no one cheering for him. The world had turned its back. But in that deep silence, he found the light that never leaves, the light within. You too carry that light, and you don't need to prove your worth. Not to the world. Not to anyone. Your value is not something others give to you. It is something you realize for yourself. Like gold in the soil, whether people notice it or not, it is still gold. But I know, it still hurts when people walk away. When they misjudge your silence, your boundaries, your gentleness. You may want to shout, "Can't you see me? Don't you know how hard I try?" It's okay to feel that. Feel it fully. Then breathe. And return to your center. Sometimes the world turns away not because you are wrong, but because you are walking a road fewer people choose. And that road is often lonely. But it is also sacred. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha says, better it is to live one day seeing the rise and fall of things than to live 100 years without ever seeing the truth. He did not say the path would be easy. He said it would be freeing. When no one supports you, be your own support. When no one sees your efforts, watch yourself kindly. When the world claps for others and forgets you, smile gently and keep walking. Your inner strength grows each time you choose peace over bitterness, faith over doubt, patience over complaint. Let me ask you something simple. Have you ever sat by yourself and felt a strange calm that had nothing to do with praise or success? That is your true self speaking. That is the voice of your soul. And it is enough. Many great masters were misunderstood in their time. The Buddha was criticized by kings, ignored by scholars, mocked by some monks. But he remained steady. He knew that truth does not need noise. It only needs roots. You may feel alone, but you are not lost. There's a Zen saying, the flower does not speak, yet the bee comes. You don't have to shout your goodness. Just keep blooming. The right souls will see you. And even if they don't, your own blooming is reason enough. Now you may ask, how can I keep going when I feel forgotten? The answer is simple but not easy. By remembering yourself. Sit in silence each day, even if just for a few minutes. Place your hand on your heart and feel its beating. You are alive. You are sacred. You are enough. You don't need to become louder. Just become truer. There's another story I wish to share. A young monk once asked his master, "Why do I feel empty even though I do everything right?" The master smiled and gave him a bowl. "Fill this with water," he said. The monk did. "Now pour out," said the master. He did. "Now fill it again, but this time, do it for yourself." The monk was confused, but he did it. "Do you see now?" the master said. "You kept filling the bowl for others, but forgot to drink from it yourself. You cannot survive on emptiness. Remember to nourish your own soul." Many good people burn out because they're always giving, always serving, always waiting for someone to say thank you. And when no one does, they crumble. But a true path doesn't need applause. It only needs honesty, sincerity, and the quiet courage to keep walking. So my dear, if you ever feel the world has turned its back, know this. You are not here to be popular. You are here to be true. You are not here to please everyone. You are here to live in peace. You are not here to be understood by all. You are here to understand yourself. Let your inner light guide you, even when no one else is walking beside you. In the next part, we will speak of how suffering transforms the soul, how it ripens us into deeper, wiser beings. But before we go there, rest with this truth. The world may forget you, but your soul never will. Sit with that and smile. How suffering ripens the soul. Come closer again, dear one. Sit down where it is quiet. You have walked with me through many thoughts already, and now it is time we speak of something very close to the heart, something that all of us, from kings to beggars, rich or poor, kind or cruel, experience. Today, I want to talk to you about suffering, not just what it is, but what it can become. I want to show you something beautiful hidden inside what most people run away from. You see, suffering is something we all try to avoid. No one wants to feel pain, sadness, heartbreak, failure, loss. Naturally, we run from it. We ask, why is this happening to me? Or when will it stop? But suffering is not just a punishment. It is also a teacher. In Buddhism, suffering is not something evil. It is something to be understood. It is like a flame. Yes, it burns, but if you understand fire, you can cook food, give warmth, and even create light. The same with pain. If you understand it, it can ripen your soul. Let me explain with a simple story. There was once a man who planted a mango seed. Every day, he watered it, but it didn't grow. The soil was dry, the sun too hot. He almost gave up, but he kept watering. Slowly it sprouted. It faced storms, heat, and harsh winds. It grew, and one day, the tree bore the sweetest mangoes in the land. Why were the mangoes so sweet? Because the tree had struggled. The roots had gone deep. The winds had made it strong. Without those difficulties, it would not have grown so rich. In the same way, your soul is like that tree. Every sorrow, every struggle, every disappointment, it pushes your roots deeper. It strengthens your compassion. It grows your patience. It shapes your wisdom. Yes, pain is real, and I will not pretend it is easy. But I want you to see that pain has a purpose. It breaks open the outer shell of who you think you are, so the deeper self can be born. Some people only wake up when they suffer. Before that, they are asleep, caught in habit, ego, pride. But then suffering comes like a bell, and they begin to question, to reflect, to feel what others feel. Suffering humbles us. It makes us kinder. Have you ever noticed how people who have suffered deeply are often the gentlest? They do not judge. They listen more. They understand silence. That's because their suffering didn't harden them. It ripened them. But not everyone grows from pain. Some people become bitter, angry, closed off. Why? Because they resist. They try to fight or escape the suffering instead of learning from it. The Buddha taught, pain is inevitable, but suffering can be optional. What does this mean? It means the outer event, the loss, the illness, the betrayal, may be outside your control. But how you meet it, how you respond, is your choice. A wise person feels pain fully, cries if needed, accepts it gently, and asks, what is this here to teach me? A person who resists says, why me? This shouldn't happen, and becomes stuck in anger or sadness. But you, my dear, can choose the middle path, the path of awareness. Feel the pain, but don't become it. Watch it. Breathe with it. Let it speak to you. Often, pain tells us things we're too busy to notice. It shows us where we were attached, where we need to let go, where we were blind, and what we must now face. There's a word in Buddhism, dukkha. It means suffering, dissatisfaction. The Buddha said that life is full of dukkha, but he also said that dukkha is the door to awakening. Without dukkha, we would never seek truth. We would never ask the big questions. We would stay asleep in comfort. So suffering is not the enemy. It is the beginning of transformation. Let me tell you about a young monk. He came to the monastery full of joy. He thought life will be peaceful now. But soon he was given hard work, strict discipline, and little comfort. He felt pain. He wanted to leave. One day, the old abbot said to him, "Do not curse the stone that sharpens your blade." The monk realized he was being shaped. His suffering was making him strong, clear, and humble. You too are being shaped. Each heartache is teaching you softness. Each loss is teaching you to let go. Each failure is teaching you to try again with less pride. All of this is not punishment. It is preparation. When you break open, the light can enter. When you fall, you become aware of gravity. When you lose, you learn what truly matters. All these are gifts hidden in the wrappings of pain. Now, I ask you gently, can you see your pain as a teacher? Can you stop fighting it and start listening to it? Not forever, just for a moment. Just breathe and say, I'm willing to learn. You don't have to like your suffering, but if you can learn from it, then it has meaning. And when pain has meaning, it no longer feels like punishment. It feels like growth. Suffering shows you where you're still clinging. It shows you your deepest wounds. And when you look at those wounds with loving eyes, they begin to heal. You don't have to pretend to be strong all the time. In Buddhism, even the Buddha cried when his cousin died. Even he felt grief, but he did not run from it. He sat with it. He made peace with it. And in that peace, he became free. You too can be free, not by avoiding suffering, but by walking through it with awareness. The next time you feel pain, pause. Place your hand on your heart. Say to yourself, this is part of being human. I will not run. I will stay. I will learn. I will love myself through this. And slowly, like a flower blooming after winter, your soul will open. In the next part, we will talk about the illusions we hold, the false beliefs and stories that deepen our pain. But for now, let this truth be your comfort. Suffering does not break you. It prepares you. It does not end you. It begins you. It does not punish you. It teaches you. Sit with this. Breathe with it. And know that even in your darkest hours, you are growing. Breaking free from illusions, the false stories that deepen suffering. Come, dear one. Let your shoulders soften. Let your breath slow down. You've come far with me. Through storms of suffering, through the valleys of past lives, through the fire of pain that ripens the soul. Now we come to a very quiet, very important place. A place inside the mind. Today, I want to speak to you about illusions. Not magic tricks, not fairy tales, but the subtle stories we keep telling ourselves about life, about others, about ourselves. These stories live in a mind like ghosts. And even though they aren't real, they cause very real pain. Let me ask you something gently. Have you ever suffered not because of what happened, but because of what you believed about what happened? For example, someone walks away from your life. The fact is they left, but then your mind whispers, maybe I wasn't good enough. Or someone criticizes you, and a voice says, I'm a failure. These voices are not facts. They are illusions. But we believe them, and that belief makes us suffer. The Buddha called this moha, delusion, and he said delusion is one of the 3 poisons of the mind, along with greed and hatred. Why? Because when we believe things that are not true, we walk in darkness, thinking it is light. Let me share a story. There was once a young man who lost his job. He was skilled, hardworking, and kind. But the company closed down. He went home and thought, I must be worthless. Nobody wants me. Days passed. He became sad, quiet, ashamed. He didn't apply for new work, didn't speak to friends, didn't eat well. He suffered deeply. Was he really worthless? No. He had simply believed a story that wasn't true. The truth was, the job ended. But his suffering came from a story he attached to it. This is what illusion does. It attaches meaning where none is needed. It turns a moment into a lifelong wound. Buddhism teaches us to see clearly. Yatha Bhuttam, to see things as they really are, not as our mind paints them. The mind says, this shouldn't have happened. Wisdom says, it happened. Now what can I do? The mind says, I must be broken. Wisdom says, I am hurting, but I'm still whole. The mind says, nobody cares. Wisdom says, I can care for myself right now. You see the difference? One keeps you stuck. The other sets you free. Now let's go even deeper. Many of us suffer because we carry hidden beliefs planted long ago. Beliefs like, I must be perfect to be loved. If I fail, I am nothing. People always leave me. I am not enough. These are not truths. They are echoes of old wounds, old moments, old voices. But we hold them tightly, and they shape how we see the world. You may walk into a room and feel judged, even if no one is looking. That's illusion. You may fear abandonment, even in healthy relationships. That's illusion. You may think peace is far away, even though it's already within you. That too is illusion. Buddhism invites you to gently question these stories. Ask, is this really true? Ask, who would I be without this belief? Ask, can I meet this moment without that old story? This is not about denying pain. It's about understanding it. Let me give you another story. A traveler was walking through a forest. He saw a snake coiled on the path and jumped back in fear. His heart raced. He almost ran, but then the sun shifted and he saw it was just a rope. The fear had felt real, but it was based on illusion. This is the same with life. We see a rope and think it's a snake. We see a challenge and think it's a failure. We see a loss and think it's the end. The suffering feels real, but its roots are in a false belief. So how do we cut through illusion? With awareness, with mindfulness, with compassion. The Buddha said, just as the moon is revealed when clouds part, so too the truth is seen when delusion clears. You don't have to fight your illusions. Just watch them, like clouds in the sky. Don't hold them. Don't chase them. Just see them for what they are, temporary thoughts, not eternal truths. And speak gently to yourself. When the mind says, you are not enough, say softly, I'm doing my best. When it says this pain will last forever, say, this is a wave. It will pass. When it says, you'll never be okay, say, I am here. I am breathing. That is enough for now. This is not positive thinking. It is clear seeing. It is replacing illusion with truth. You're not your thoughts. You're the space in which thoughts come and go. You're not your pain. You're the one who notices the pain. You're not broken. You are a soul remembering itself. Let's pause here. Close your eyes. Take one deep breath. Say quietly, I let go of what is not true. I choose peace over the stories that hurt me. Feel that. That is freedom. Even if your outer life remains the same, your inner world becomes lighter. In Zen, we say, when a mind is still, the mirror becomes clear. The suffering in your heart is not because of what is happening, but because of what the clouded mind believes. Clear the mirror, even just a little. Let truth shine through. And what is the truth? That you are enough. That life changes. That peace is possible. That you don't have to believe every thought that passes through your head. In the next part, we will complete this journey with a reflection on everything we've seen, why bad things happen to good people, and how goodness itself is its own reward. But for now, my dear, sit with this. Suffering often lives not in reality, but in the stories we tell ourselves. You can rewrite those stories with gentleness, with truth, with love. The final understanding, why goodness is always enough. Come, Diefsul. This is our final sitting in this long journey together. We have walked through many forests of thought, crossed rivers of sorrow, and stood in the sunlight of clarity. Now we come to rest. Let us breathe together one last time in silence. Inhale, exhale. Today, we return to the question we began with. Why do bad things happen to good people? We have looked at it from many angles, through karma, through ignorance, through inner strength, through past lives, through illusions, through suffering. Now we go to the heart of it. Listen carefully, dear one. This is the softest truth I will whisper to you. Goodness is not a transaction. It is a state of being. So many believe. If I am good, life should reward me. That's the old mind speaking. It sees kindness like a coin. It gives and waits to receive. But the awakened heart does not love to be loved back. It does not help to be thanked. It does not forgive to be praised. It simply is. A flower does not bloom to be noticed. It just blooms. That is its nature. In the same way, the truly good person is good not because they are afraid of punishment or hungry for rewards, but because they cannot imagine being anything else. You see, The world may not always reward goodness with ease, but goodness always rewards itself with peace. If you lie, you may gain success, but you lose your inner rest. If you cheat, you may win, but your heart becomes heavy. If you are cruel, you may seem strong, but you will grow lonely. On the other hand, when you are kind, even in a world that doesn't notice, you sleep peacefully at night. When you forgive, even when others hold grudges, you breathe easier. When you give, even when nothing comes back, you feel full inside. This is the secret. Goodness is its own reward. Let me tell you one last story. There was once an old gardener who planted trees, even though he was too old to eat their fruits. A boy asked him, "Why plant if you'll never enjoy them?" The gardener smiled and said, "Because someone else will. And that makes my heart happy." That's what it means to live well. Not always being comfortable, not always winning, but being so full inside that you keep giving, keep planting, keep smiling, no matter what happens. And now let me say something important. It is okay to feel tired. It is okay to feel hurt when life is unfair. It is okay to want to cry, to feel disappointed, to ask why. But please do not lose your goodness because the world is blind to it. Please don't harden just because others are cruel. Please don't close your heart just because it has been broken. Each time your heart breaks and you choose to keep it soft, that is strength. Each time you are betrayed and still choose honesty, that is courage. Each time you are hurt and still choose to help others, that is awakening. You may ask, what if no one ever sees my goodness? And I say, the universe sees, the truth sees, your own soul sees. And that is enough. The Buddha once said, just as a candle cannot burn without fire, men cannot live without a spiritual life. Your goodness is your spiritual flame. It is what lights up this dark world. Even if only a few see it, even if no one claps, it still matters. Because every act of compassion shifts the world just a little. Every kind word is like a ripple in a still pond. It travels further than you think. Every silent prayer, every patient act, every moment of nonviolence, it all adds up. It all becomes part of a better world. And that better world starts inside you. You may not control the outer storms, but you can be the shelter. You may not stop people from being unkind, but you can choose not to become like them. You may not fix the whole world, but you can make your corner of it gentle, forgiving, honest, and warm. And if millions of people do that, then the world will quietly change. Let me say this one last time from my heart to yours. You're not wrong for being good. You're not foolish for being kind. You're not weak for being soft. You are not wasting your time by being loving in a harsh world. You are a miracle. You are a light. You are a rare soul that remembers who we are meant to be before the world teaches us to forget. So walk your path. Cry when you must. Rest when you're tired. But keep going. Keep shining. And when doubt visits again, as it surely will, return to this one truth. You are enough. And goodness is always enough. You have walked with me through the mountains and valleys of this teaching. I bow to your patience, your heart, your willingness to listen deeply. Let us now end where we began, with gratitude and a soft reminder. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. If these words have touched your heart, if even one sentence helped you breathe easier, then please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel Wisdom Woven. Not for fame, not for numbers, but because your support helps these gentle teachings reach another hurting heart. And maybe, just maybe, that heart will begin to heal too. Now go softly into your day. Be kind even when it's hard. Be honest even when it's lonely. Be gentle even when the world is not. And remember, you are not alone. The light you carry is ancient, and you are deeply, deeply loved.